A short introduction. My name is Pangeran Muhammad Farid Zurusdi bin Pangeran Aziz. I'm the lead cybersecurity awareness trainer in BUSET. BUSET stands for Brunei Computer Emergency Response Teams. So I hold several professional certification, include SANS Security Awareness Professional, Certified Information Security Awareness Manager, Microsoft Certified Technology Specialist, Certified Ethical Hacker, Security Plus, and regularly attend conferences in IT security summits to keep up to date with the latest threats and trends in IT security. I have been many years of experience in teaching and give numerous talks to information security to government, both private and public sector, education institution, including higher institution, secondary school, primary school, and among the Bruneian as part of our vision to educate Bruneians on the threats and dangers are out there in this age of IT and the internet. And with me today, our facilitator, we have Izwana, Nobi, Khatijah, Ida, and Eddie Sham. So apologies, we don't have Eddie Sham punya picture on the slides, but we actually have him, Eddie Sham, on board for the question and answer session. And then due to the time limitation for today's presentation, our facilitator will assist you with the Q&A by answering your question during the webinar. And of course, we also have Q&A towards the end of the session, and I will try my best to answer some of the questions. We will stay around for an extra 5 to 10 minutes to answer any additional question. Okay, moving on, a short introduction of Cybersecurity Brunei. His Majesty consented to the establishment of Cybersecurity Brunei as the National Cybersecurity Agency for Brunei Darussalam, which began operation on 1st August 2020. Okay. CSB offers 3 core services, which is BUSET, NDFL, which stands for National Digital Forensic Laboratory, and CWC or CyberWatch Center. CSP operates under the Ministry of Transport and Info Communication, or in short MTIC, with the Minister of MTIC as the Minister in charge of cybersecurity. And one of our interests is to increase public awareness of cyber threats happening nowadays. Okay. So we've identified few topics we'll be covering today, 4 main areas, and followed by demonstration on HTTP and HTTPS. We will also discuss why HTTPS is important, why they are fantastic. This is why you're going to benefit them, and this is why you should get excited. So without further ado, let's start with the first topic. Okay. However, before I begin, I may pull out some polls to start, just to get to know my audience for today. So let me launch the poll. You have 30 seconds to fill up the poll. So we have around 8 seconds. Okay, thank you, everyone. So among the attendees who will be attending today is 46% daripadanya is actually students, and then parents is around 3%, 25% educator, and others is 3%. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay. So great, at least I know how technical can I cover today's presentation. Okay, first thing first, what is URL? Okay, the acronym URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator, and you use URL every time you visit our websites. Okay, so today, throughout today's webinar, we'll be referring to this case study based on the recent case reported in Brunei a few weeks ago, 1st November 2021. So on 1st November 2021, there several members of the public received a short text messages or SMS link claim daripada Brunei Post requesting for payment, fees, and package delivery costs. Okay, So what happens is actually once user click those links, okay, on the left hand side at one, it will open a website which asks for your user personal details such as your credit card number and so on. Okay, so this website actually does not belong to the Postal Services Department, but it's a fake website. Okay. Or we know it, kami panggil as a phishing website created by cyber criminal which intend to steal personal information from the victim. Okay, so let's start with steps on how to spot a fraudulent URL. So rule number 1, okay, pay attention to the address bar. Okay, look for a padlock sign. Okay, so the first thing you want to look for on a website is the HTTPS at the beginning of the address. Okay, the S in the HTTPS stands for secure, which indicates that the website uses encryption to transfer data, protecting it from hackers. Okay, so if a website uses HTTP without the S, that doesn't guarantee that a website is a scammer, but it's something to watch for. Okay, so to be on a safe side, you should never enter personal information into a site beginning with HTTP. Okay, why? Because there is high probability that our communication is intercepted and either stolen or being altered, which will be discussed later during the demonstration session. Okay, so some internet browser like Google Chrome let in warning you about unsecure websites. Okay, so when a site is secure, you may see a small padlock next to the web address, or address may be highlighted in green. Okay, so you might also notice that the domain name next to padlock before the HTTPS. Okay, so that means the website has one of the highest level of encryption and can be trusted. Okay, so if you're unsure, you can click on the padlock or the not secure button and notice that to see more details on the website security. And on top of that, you can also check up on the site through Google Safe Site Search. Okay, and the presence of the HTTPS doesn't guarantee security as well, but it's a good starting point. Okay, so that's rule number 1, pay attention to the address bar. So next, rule number 2, okay, rule number 2, check the domain name. Okay, one key indicator of a fake website is a misspelled URL. Okay, a favorite trick of scammers is to create websites with addresses that are very similar to those of large brands or companies. Okay, as you can see, it's Yahoo, but indicates instead of O, it indicates 0. Okay, so fraudster may change a URL name slightly like Yahoo, Amazon.net, or they may even change domain extension. Okay, like Shein.org instead of Shein.com. Okay, so scammers count on you skimming over the address and the domain name. So it always works to double check the address bar if you're redirected to a website from another page. Okay, so as you can see from our previous case study, the phishing domain name post is post-bn.com looks legitimate, but it's not. Okay, it's actually a fake or a phishing website. Okay, always to make sure to use official government websites that ends with gov.bn for any matters involving the sharing of personal information and so on. So great, website URL. Next, we proceed to rule number 3. Okay, website URL include HTTP, HTTPS check, domain name check. Next is the certificate. Okay, so the S in the HTTPS stands for secure, and it provides bidirectional protection between you and the websites that you're visiting by encrypting any information you send to the computer or a server, where the websites hosted and whatever the sites are sent back to you. And in order for an HTTPS site to function properly, you need to have a current digital certificate in place, which guarantee that the people responsible for the sites are who they say they are. Okay, so that way, if you get swindled when making a purchase and want to take a legal action, the identity of the operator of the offending site is clear. And if the digital certificate is out of date, okay, most newer browser will let you know by displaying an invalid certificate notice across the screen that looks something like this. Okay, as you can see from the screen. So let's dive in more details on the certificate. Okay, we advise web user to look for HTTPS and the log icon on the address bar of their browser before typing password or entering private information into a website. So basically, these are solid tips, but it's worth digging deeper into what HTTPS does and doesn't do to protect your online security and what step you need to take to be safer. Okay. So solution for this problem is actually to check and verify the certificate. So this is very important because most phishing websites nowadays are using encrypted sites to look legitimate or to look legit. So a green padlock might make it seems like it's secure, but increasingly phishers are using to lure victims into giving up sensitive information as well. So maksudnya nowadays cyber criminal pun menggunakan mechanism HTTPS dia untuk membuat phishing website. So it's good to have this knowledge to check for the certificate to make sure it's valid ataupun tidak. Okay, so technically HTTPS use certificates from a certificate authority where SSL and encryption keys process on the background. Okay, so example of well-known certificate authority is macam DigiCert, as you can see from the screen, VeriSign, Symantec, which has a good reputation and trustworthy. So this is how the certificate looks like, issued by DigiCert. And I will share as well steps on how to view the certificate using Google Chrome, and it's actually the same method kalau memakai other browser. So from the URL, okay, on the left, you can click a connection is secure, okay, and then they have option to click the certificate is valid. So you double click that option, certificate is valid. So in this example, you can see that the certificate is issued for the domain name post-bn is created just few days ago before the website is live, which is on the 31st October. Okay, so meaning to say yang baru apply this digital certificate. So when you're visiting a website, please make sure it's HTTPS with a valid certificate. But there is no limitation on this. If you are accessing from smartphone, there's actually a workaround to view from smartphone where you can do more research from the internet, which I will be not covering due to the time limitation. So maybe you can Google up how do I view certificates on my Android, iPhone, or anything. Okay. So next, to verify ownership. Okay, this can be done using third-party features or third-party software, third-party websites called Whoislookup. Okay, so verifying the owner of a website is great for those learning how to check if a website is secure, and it's actually much easier or simpler than many might expect. So with the help of Whoislookup, you actually can find the name of the registered individual or legal entity that owns the website you're trying to visit. So examples. Scammers know that most people will be shopping, doing the online shopping during the holidays or even the masa promotion than usual. So they put together real looking websites with very quickly around those time. So by checking this Whois domain name age, you actually can see how long the website has been up in business, and giving you a better sense of its accuracy. Okay, as you can see from the screen, post-bn.com punya domain name actually created few days ago, which is on the 31st October. Okay, so something to look into. So just a short introduction, a short explanation on Whois. Whois is actually a widely used internet record listing that identifies who owns a domain name and how to get in contact with them. So the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, or short they call it ICANN, is actually regulates domain name registration and ownership. So Whois record have proven to be extremely useful and have developed into an essential resources for maintaining the integrity of the domain name registration and website ownership process. Okay, so when cyberbreach also happen, we're actually using the third party, this feature to identify who's the owner of the website. And then Whois record contains all of the contact information associated with the person, group, or even the company that registered a particular domain name. Typically, each Whois record will contain information such as name, contact information of the registrant. Okay. Okay, rule number 5. Okay. please make sure to use only secure payment option. Okay, so shopping website should offer standard payment option such as credit card or debit card, which will be redirected to, which will be redirected to local payment gateway as shared in the screen. So most of the local banks also provide sort of like multi-factor authentication, or in short MFA, for online payment. Most of the local bank also provides multi-factor authentication for online payment, such as one-time PIN, or in short OTP, or even SMS. Okay, so even a website, if a website require you to use a wire transfer, money order, or other than unsecured communication form, which is non-refundable form of payment, so we recommend you to stay away, even if it's the rest of the websites looks legitimate. Okay, just to be on the safe side. So back to the case study. Okay, the website is not using a secure payment. Okay, it asks for the information directly from the user without using the payment gateway. So globally, there is a standard called PCI-DSS, which stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, which is a widely accepted set of policy and procedure intended to optimize the security of credit card, debit card, and cash card transaction, and protect cardholders against misuse of their personal information. So as part of the contents, actually, when it comes to credit card data atau debit card, they are only allowed to validate entities are permitted to store data classification as a cardholder data, or in short CHD dan sebagainya. So they only have the limited information to store according to this standard of policy. So not all information can be stored inside dorang punya database and so on. Okay. Okay, so the next one is rule number 6 is to check shorten URL or a fake URL. Okay, so some URLs are really long and very messy to look at. So in some cases, that may lead a business or individual shortening a link to make it look nicer. So this is actually done with a tool like bit.ly, short URL, and many more. So however, a shortening URL often change URL so much that you actually can't tell where it leads to. So if you click to a malicious link, okay, or you accidentally click the malicious link, so malware lets you install, the malware lets install to your computers without you even knowing it. So before you click, do some digging. There's actually a website called unshorten.it that will prop a shortened link that tells you where it goes without actually opening it. So please make sure if you receive a shortened URL, you can memakai this free source websites called unshorten.it to make sure that where does it bring or navigate you to the next web page. And the last rule, rule number 7 is to run a virus scan, to install antivirus and run a virus scan. So this is the best way to protect yourself against malicious websites, is to install by antivirus software on your all devices, and please make sure it's up to date. Okay, so it doesn't matter your personal laptop, your company laptop, or even your mobile phone devices. Okay, so also double check email links. Be wary of links sent through emails and text from people you don't know, or even your bank or internet provider, especially if they ask you to confirm your financial or personal details. These are actually a common tactics scammers use to attempt to steal your information or infect your device. So another thing is advertisement pop-ups. Okay, so they aren't actually an indication of a problem, but there is more. If there is more advertisement than content, or if you have to click to several advertisements to be redirected to website, so you have to cause this to be suspicious. So there are free resources that I can share with the audience today to do a quick scan for viruses, phishing, malware, and anything that URL and so on. So as you can see, the resources is virustotal.com. So in a situation kalau you guys receive malicious URL, you can verify those URL using this these resources in it called VirusTotal, which is can be accessible for free. Okay, so that's about the fraudulent URLs. So next, just to share with the audience today on the reported cases recently happened yang reported to Buset. So an email claiming daripada BIBD, okay, but when someone clicks those link bibd.com.bn they actually open or redirect to a malicious websites. And as you can see, yes, the website satu even using HTTPS juga. Okay, so two things to remember. Please check. Please make sure it's HTTPS. Okay, so by this mechanism, you can protect information from being intercepted by third parties to get the data passed between the both parties or two systems. Okay, and then number two is the URL link. Okay, even though it's HTTPS, but it doesn't go to somewhere else. Which I'm supposed to be, if you receive this kind of email, it should navigate it to bibd.com.bn punya website, but it's not. Okay, it's a phishing website and it's a phishing link. Okay, next we'll proceed to the demonstration on HTTP and HTTPS. So just a short description on HTTP and HTTPS. So HTTPS is actually stands for Hypertext Protocol Secure, and it's the secure version of HTTP, which is the primary protocol used to send data between web browser and websites. So have you ever noticed sometimes when you go to a website and the URL starts with HTTPS instead of HTTP? Okay, so when you are at a site located HTTPS web address, you are at a website that's more secure than a website that's have an HTTP web address. Okay, so when you visit a website located HTTPS, you are more protected against an attacker intercepting the information you send to the site. So, like example, if you're filling a form, online form lah, or download a white paper, or kalau you guys pernah come across to send credit card information to make a purchase, so the S in HTTPS stands for secure, and it provides bidirectional protection between you and the website you're visiting by encrypting any of the information you send to the computer or server, where the website hosted and whatever the site send back to you. So the problem with HTTP, the data is not encrypted. So meaning to say it can be intercepted by third parties to get the data between the two systems. So HTTPS use encryption keys which are processed on the background, and encryption protects websites from attacks as well. But there's a couple of kinds of attacks that occur over HTTP that are simply not possible using the HTTPS protocol. So one of the examples actually macam man-in-the-middle attack. So what actually happened during this attack, man-in-the-middle attack, two parties that think they are directly communicating are having that communication intercepted and either being stolen ataupun being altered. Okay, as you can imagine, this can be terrible, especially if a website and its visitor are exchanging personal information or financial information. So, however, with an encrypted connection, this kind of attack can be prevented. So, without getting too technical, the important thing to know that between the HTTPS sites are more secure than HTTP. Okay, so it's almost always a bad idea to conduct e-commerce on HTTP website, because it means that your credit card is not encrypted. So if it's encrypted, you might start seeing a bunch of charges. Sorry, if your information is intercepted, you might start seeing a bunch of charges on your bill that aren't yours. Okay. Okay. Next, we proceed to the next one. So this is a bit technical. So HTTP use a protocol 8080 or 80, while HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, using the port 443 or SSL/TLS. So as mentioned previously, HTTPS use certificates from a certificate authority, where SSL and encryption are, SSL and encryption keys are processed on the background. So HTTP is one of the protocol that is used for viewing web page. In standard HTTP, all information is sent in clear text, which is vulnerable to hackers. So normally, not a big deal if a regular a regular website which doesn't involve personal information such as password, credit card, and so on. But always remember, when you access to a certain website, it will travel across the public internet, which makes your data vulnerable. Okay, HTTP protocol that is used for the viewing the websites. Sorry. So in standard HTTP, all information is sent in clear text, vulnerable to hackers. So normally, this is something it look like whenever you try to enter information on the internet. It is very in the plain text which is visible to the hacker or cyber criminal, while HTTPS is encrypted. So the contents may look gibberish, which is become unimportant for them if they manage to hack and so on. So next, in this case, I will be using tools called Wireshark to sniff to the network. So Wireshark is the world widely used network protocol analyzer. So it lets you see what's happening on your network at a microscopic level across many commercial and non-profit enterprise, include government agency, education institution, and so on. But at the same time, cybercriminals are using this tool for bad stuff to sniff out, to see what's actually happening on the network and so on. So this is from the point of view of the cybercriminal interface. So this is actually how it looks like if you visit a website using HTTP, which is not encrypted. And another example, plain text using HTTP protocol. Okay, so let's do a live demonstration. Okay. So this information that you're going to learn today in this webinar can be used for wrong and for good. So just a disclaimer that this demonstration is for informational and educational purpose sahaja. Okay. So we are not hacking to any website or resources. We just want to see and understand how HTTP looks like when it's traveled across a public internet, which makes your data vulnerable. So any action or any activities related to the material contained after the webinar is your own responsibility. It can be potentially damaging or dangerous if it's misused. So if you do not fully understand and you just want to try it for fun, so I suggest you to install your own networking environment for testing or learning purpose. So at the moment in Brunei, we have akta di Brunei related to computer ni it's called Computer Misuse Act to refers to related cyber laws, and you may refer to websites Attorney General Chamber for more details. So do not attempt to violate the law with anything you learn today. Neither me or anyone else is affiliated in a way is going to accept responsibility for your action. So I'm just going to bring up quick poll. Okay. Oops. So please vote which website should we try. Okay. So the top vote we will do the live demonstration. Okay. So sebenarnya sama pelang ni semua memakai HTTP. So it's just that one of them are hosted by different organization or individual. Okay, so I get 40% for website number 2. So website number 2 is krishibank.org.bd. Okay. So this is the tool that I'm using untuk sniffing. If anyone can see. Hello. Panelists, kindly advise if you guys can see my screen at the moment.
Cannot, right?
Okay, let me do a quick check. Sorry guys, let me, because I'm using other computers to do the demonstration. Okay. Oops. Unfortunately, I'm unable to share the screen. Let me do a quick troubleshoot. Okay. Give me a few minutes. Sorry about this. Share. So let me share the screen. So guys, let me do a quick reboot on the PC. Okay, so based on the vote today, majority choose websites. Let me double check number. Where's the pool? Majority choose websites number 2. Okay, choose websites number 2. So this actually the website look like so if you realize dia menggunakan HTTP, okay, it's not secure. Okay, so let's see what actually happened if someone is using HTTP protocol, log into personal information using HTTP. So let's try a dummy account or dummy email. Okay, so an example doesn't matter kalau your password is very secure. So in this case, I'm just going to put a 15 character. So before we click enter, okay, someone or cyber criminal might install a third-party software to to sniff or to monitor your activities online. Okay, so let's start with Wi-Fi. Okay, so let it run, and we're just gonna put or enter the reference information and click login. Okay, so username or password is incorrect. Okay, that's fine. So let's see from the point of view of a cyber criminal. Okay, so I'm just going to use a filter to dig in on the information. So among the packet collected tadi, I managed to get one HTTP punya packets. So what I can do is actually I can dive in ataupun look more further on the analysis in it. Okay, so as you can see, this is the details. Okay, so somewhere at to click or not to click, and then my password is too secure. Okay, so this is something it look like kalau you guys memakai HTTP. Okay, you send the information across the internet and somebody actually can intercept and misuse the information. Okay, so please be aware, especially if you're using HTTP protocol. Okay. Okay, next. So the question is, kalau HTTPS macam mana usulnya? So this is actually how it look like if you are using HTTPS. So the information is macam gibberish, it's useless because it's protected by encryption. Okay. So now we have learned about the dangers. So let's learn on how to stay safe online when using websites. So any additional information or tips. So please make sure to keep application, software, and firmware up to date. Number 2, to ensure high quality antivirus protection, which is yang reliable and well known. And then yang ketiga is backup data regularly. And then secure your router, especially yang kalau masih memakai WPA or using the default password and so on. And of course, to use multi-factor authentication masanya nowadays, basically to minimize the risk of information being stolen. Okay. On top of that lagi, this is actually that we can share to protect your privacy. So using this feature, it can help ataupun help you to protect your privacy online. So we've all become aware that our online activities and the data bersimpan dalam internet itu is very vulnerable. Okay, so every website we visit tracks our activities, interests, and this data can be used as a target to us and build a detailed picture of our online activity. So you may have noticed this when searching for certain items online, and suddenly a pop-ups ad for this product follows you around everywhere, websites or platform you visit. Okay, so make no mistake, your data is highly required after, and it will be used for precision targeting unless you take some steps to improve your privacy online. So one way to mitigate this data loss and protect your privacy is to enable this feature called kalau macam ada Google Chrome, they call it incognito mode. So Firefox, they call it private browsing. Kalau Microsoft Edge, they call it in private, and Safari, they call it private browsing. Okay, so just a quick demonstration. I'll show you how to enable those features. So in this case, I'm using Google Chrome. So let me bring up the web browser. Okay, from the top 3 dots, top right, you can see 3 dots, and you can click the new Ignito window to activate these Ignito punya features. So as simple as that. So when you click those links, you will open another web browser. Okay, so as you can see sini, it will explain more that your browser, these features won't save information on the following activities and so on. So by using this Igniter window, basically ada multi-layered approach lah, or multi-layered security, basically to secure your privacy online. Okay, last but not least is what can you report to Buzzard? So there's actually many issue related to cyber incident where you actually can report to us. So the first one is infected computer, which include malware, macam viruses, worm, Trojan horse, and so on. So the next one is malicious websites, which means a website attempt to install malware or gain access to your computer. Yang ketiga is hack email account, where someone is unauthorized access to your email account, usually after clicks on a phishing link and so on. So next one is phishing juga. So as mentioned tadi, phishing is an attempt to trick you into revealing private information such as your password, credit card, and so on. And then business email compromise. Okay, this is actually a recent reported cases actually happening nowadays. This is actually an email scam targeting companies by spoofing the email account of high-level employees to convince them, to convince the victim to transfer funds or reveal confidential information. Okay, so the next one is social media. So anything related to social media, macam scam and so on. Okay, hack account, online impersonation, sextortion, or any other issue related to your online privacy and security. Okay, so next one is cyberbullying, termasuk online harassment, abusive, threatening comments, or even impersonation. And website defacement. Okay, so an attack on a website by changing the appearance or content of the website. And last but not least is denial of service. Okay, a malicious attacks making a website temporarily unavailable by overwhelming its resources. So in a situation, if any cyber incident happen, okay, you can email us at reporting@buzzard.org.bn or give us a call on our hotline at 245-8001, which operates 24/7. And again, please make sure it's cybersecurity related. Kalau printer rusak apa, it's actually non-related to IT. You can consult your Kadaika dan sebagainya. And also you can reach us through WhatsApp as